Hello, welcome to the very first episode of the Time Sport podcast. On this special edition, we are going to make sense of APR's historic run at the Basketball Africa League 2025. I'm proud to be joined by Axel Mpoyo, a staff forward for APR, and Coach James Maye Jr., who is the coach who engineered all this that APR managed to achieve in this tournament. Coach James, I want to really start with you. It was a historic campaign for APR, but also for Rwanda in general. I want to understand, what do you in general make of this tournament? I really understand that you might have wanted to win the trophy, but the fans are proud of the fact that you managed to make the top three. According to you as a coach, what do you think of this tournament, the achievements or the highs and the lows?
First of all, thank you for having me. I think the tournament was great. Very, very important to look at last year, where the team was last year, not making the playoffs, and really picking out some elements and things that we thought we could improve on, things that we thought we did well that we could enhance, and just moving things around and trying to shape a culture that could be successful in the BAL. I think looking at the end result, which would be the championship, which is what we wanted, and falling a little bit short of that, we don't allow that to cloud how far we've come from last season and all the achievements that we have, which resulted in third place, being in the podium, being the first East African team, the first Rwandan team to finish in third. So for us, it was a very, very successful campaign. We hit a lot of goals and a lot of targets that we set for this season, especially for myself, not having coached in the BAL before. So I think it gives us a great outlook and a lot of passion and desire to be able to get back there next year and do even bigger things.
I'll take you a little bit back. Was your target to win the trophy? Going to the BAL in South Africa, to the playoffs, was the target the trophy?
Of course. The target was definitely to win the trophy.
Then I want to go to you as a person. This is your first time to coach in the BAL. Of course, you've really traveled as a coach. You coached in different continents. But how do you rate the competition in the BAL?
I think it's great competition. I think the competition is very, very high. Very competitive. Fortunately for me, I was able to play in the African Club Championships back in 2008, which is now technically on FIBA site, the BAL. Played with Al Shabaab from Libya. Played against Premier de Agosto, that was the top team in Angola at the time. I got a chance to play against Petro when I was playing in Argentina in 2011. They traveled all the way across the world to play preparation games for the African Club Championships. So I was exposed to the level of play in Africa. No surprises there for me. And so going into this tournament, I just knew it would be a lot more of that. And then I think on top of that as well is that it's all national team guys playing. So if you watch any of FIBA Africa and different national team tournaments and things like that, that it's a high level, and you see so many African players coming over to the United States making a huge splash as well. So I think the level is very high. I think the development is growing. I think the league is growing, the professionalism. So it's nothing short of what I expected it to be.
One more question with you before I go to Axel. What happened? Because in the Nile conference, when you started flying. 2 games won by really big margins, and then all of a sudden it went low. Was that because of the injury to Diarra? Because a lot of fans say this. Do you think that was the main reason why you struggled in the last games?
It's a part of the reason. I think any of our players have very high value. All of our players have special things that they bring to the table. At that particular time for us, Diarra getting hurt, he was a defensive catalyst for us. We had a defense around his ability to be able to rim protection, or having somebody that has a high level of rim protection. So you lose that. We also had a lot of other little injuries and sicknesses and stuff going around, so he wasn't the only one. We had 3-4 guys that were back and forth with their health to be able to perform at the level we needed. For us, it was just not being able to shift quick enough. Again, we have a lot of players that can fill in, but it takes a quick shift. 6 games in 9 days, you don't have a lot of time to prepare, and we just didn't shift quick enough. What I do think we did was we dropped in our first game of Tripoli, but each game, guys also were getting healthier. But as we were adjusting, our level of play got back to where it needed to be able to close out the last game and use that as a springboard going into the playoffs.
Absolutely. Now I want to come to you, Axel. This, I think, is the third tournament of the BAL that you've participated in. And it was quite special for you because you came out to be now the record holder for the largest number of threes in just one single game, with 10 threes, breaking Will Perry's record of 9. Was that your highlight of the tournament? Talk to me about what you think about the tournament in general as a player.
In the tournament in general, or the threes?
Yeah, your highlight of the tournament. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a really good moment for me personally. But not only for me, I think it was a great moment for Rwanda as well, the country. Having a team go in there and break these type of records, like most threes, and I feel like it could really push the game forward. When people see. When people see that and see that coming from a Rwandan team, that moment was really special for me. I didn't wake up that morning, thinking about breaking the record, but I got hot, and I got to give credit to my teammates. We were really clicking that day, pushing the ball, and they kept finding me wide open, transition, in the corners, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to give credit to my teammates for that, and I just I got in the rhythm, and I was feeling it that day, and ended up breaking the record.
Yeah, I mean, like, how did you do it? Because like you were shooting from everywhere. There is this shot that you took jumping over one guy. I'm thinking, like, how did you? What was going on in your mind? Like, you were daring a lot.
Yeah, man, I was just hot. I was just in the zone, man. So, when you get in that type of zone, and when you hit a couple, you see a couple go in, and that builds your confidence. And that shot specifically, man, I watched it back, and I was like, man, that's a very tough angle to make that shot. So, I was kind of just a mixture of confidence and just being hot.
Mm-hmm. Speaking to Axel here makes me think about that we don't have a lot of players of his quality locally, really. You can count, for example, APR, Mpoyo, Nore, William Robbins, which is different, I think, with the North African teams. They have very good local players, a pool of very many local players, and when they add in internationals, their teams become quite strong. Do you buy into the idea that one of our weaknesses is that we don't have a large pool of exposed local players who can do the same as North African players when you mix them with internationals?
I think a lot of that comes down to development. I don't think it's a lack of talent, but I think it's a lack of cultivation. As I mentioned, Petro was in Argentina, so imagine you're playing in Argentina and Petro's there to play games to prepare. You saw Libya travel. They're in Turkey, they're in all these different places. And APR did the same thing last year, going to Qatar, right? There is a lack of exposure, but I think that also comes with the professionalism and the mindset of cultivation in the league. Where do we want to go with our guys? What does our pool of talent look like? How do we get them from A to B? So I think just having more coaches coming in the country, just adding more, showing people more coaching clinics, teaching guys how to develop. The passion is there. You see guys like Justin on our team. There was a view of that our staff had of Justin, our organization had of Justin, that we thought we could take him to a next level. I think he's proven in this league right now, in the local league, of being a 40% shooter versus being 20%. We all knew he could shoot, but it's about performance, right? So having guys like him, and there's a lot of young guys, they just need the opportunity to be able to develop, for somebody to be able to spend consistent time with them. When the league is over here, what happens after that? When you're looking at national team, what happens? What does the pool look like? Is it a pool of 15, or are you bringing in 30 guys, for an example? How's the scouting? So I think all of those things can help just make that level of play be higher. But I do think there's talent in the country. I don't know if there's an abundance. I haven't been in a ton of African countries to know if it's in abundance compared to the other countries. But I do know there's talent here, and they just have to be developed.
The other problem was the problem of injuries. Injuries during the tournament, but also injuries before the tournament. I mean, just before it started, Nobel Bongo suffered an injury. I think Osborne Shema too suffered an injury. And then in the middle of the tournament, Obadiah Noel and who else? They suffered injuries.
Yara, Nooney, everybody.
How did this affect you? But also going forward, how do you think this problem can be solved? Because someone can think it's down to, you know, the physio part of things, the fitness part of things, the conditioning. Yeah.
I think the injuries, it definitely makes things shaky because your roster is just constantly changing. You know, not just when you see us in a game, but practice each day, who's in, who's out. All you could do is, and we talk to the group about it all the time, Axel could tell you, you know, it's about just trying to find the consistency within the inconsistency. You know, meaning that we have to just try to control, we can control. You weather the storm, try to keep the boat as steady as possible, and you just maintain the focus. You have to shift your practice plan when you don't have your bigs, you don't have your guards, or different things like that, but there's a million different ways to get better. It's just searching out those things. I do think, like we were talking about development, I do think that the performance aspect, the strength and all that has been neglected some in a country like that, importance of your strength coach, of lifting the weights, of eating healthy. And I don't think a lot of people want to eat bad, be honest, compared to the United States for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we've addressed a lot of that. I think we've started to, you know, players are eating the right way. We have a nutritionist, different things like that. And again, the performance aspect, there's a lot of preventative things that can happen versus being reactive. So with our team, that was something we introduced this year. I think we made a lot of strides doing it with our medical team and our performance team. I don't even know if all the teams here have that, but we do now. But just trying to make sure that we care on the guys, we manage their workload, we build them up in areas we need to, and we're able to translate that onto the court. I think that's something we'll continue to focus on moving forward, and hopefully it helps us not have as many injuries or just be able to be more steady in the future.
Absolutely. Axel, take me a little bit into the locker room. How was it when, for example, Diarra suffered an injury? He was at that point like the main man for APR, you know, doing the blocks, doing the dunks, like doing it on every end of the court. So he gets injured. What comes into your mind, and what are you guys talking about in the locker room when, you know, he suffers this injury?
Yeah, man. Diarra, yeah, everybody in the locker room know what type of player Diarra is for us. You know, he brings so much. He does a lot, you know, defensively, offensively. But with the team, with our team and how our team is built, you know, it's just a next man up mentality. We know that we have enough. We have a lot of players, and you know, when a player like Diarra goes down, everybody just got to step up, you know. And the locker room is. I like our locker room because it's a lot of honest. You know, it's a lot of honesty in the locker room. You know, it's not ever negative either. You know, it's always positive, uplifting, and constructive. You know, we just try to. We're a solution-based team, so you know, we keep it respectful. Everything is, you know, positive, and you know, we're confident that we're able to, you know, have the next man up and next man give more effort to rally us.
And then you go into the next match, and that match, you lost it. I mean, the next man mentality, really. Yeah. Does it crumble when you lose that?
It never crumbles, man. You know, we want to win every game, but we know that in sports you don't win every game, right? In sports you got to adjust, right? So it's about figuring it out, you know, and when an injury like that happens so sudden in a competition like this where there's not a lot of turnaround between the games, you know, you still got to figure it out, even though we fell short the next game. And, you know, it was kind of, you know, a struggle going forward, but we knew it would be all right, you know, at the end of the day.
I want to come back to you specifically on Diarra's injury because it had a lot of fans talking. You were racing against the clock to have him fit for the playoffs. What was happening in the background, for example, in terms of the physio work and all that?
A lot of man hours. And again, not just for him, for a lot of our guys, but it definitely was a focus of ours, right? Is you're trying to get guys as fast as possible back to where they need to be. I thought we used the time wisely in between the conference and the playoffs to rest guys and build all of our guys back up. But then also along the way, one thing we've done in our staff is I'm a creative person. I welcome a lot of open ideas, open platform for our coaches. So I thought everybody did a good job of bringing ideas to the table of how we could shift. We're fortunate enough to have a lot of players that are versatile. We can play numerous styles of basketball. We're not stuck to like one specific style. You can have like your number one style or top style when all our guys are healthy, but we have various different ways that we could shift to. So I thought we did a really good job of adjusting and coming up with ideas of a plan in case DR wasn't going to be able to go. But I thought the staff did a tremendous job of getting him ready. The players did a tremendous job building his confidence back up, because even as a player, you lose confidence when you're injured, especially when you're going on the big stage. So I thought the team and the staff and everybody rallied around him really well, and we got back to where we needed to be.
All right, so aside from Diarra, you had players that were new on the team. Some of them big players, Nuni Omot, who played, for example, in the Olympics, and you had some players who have G League experience. How was it to have them on the team? Are they, like easy to manage for you?
Actually, very easy, because they were great people, all of them. They knew how to sacrifice. They understood what that was. Unselfish. They were hard workers, committed to the team right away, and most of anything, the most important part was they were committed to the goal. And when you're striving to win, you want winners. You want guys that have won. You want guys that want to win and have that desire. All of these guys brought that. Chasen Randall had just recently won in the G League, played for Team USA numerous years. He's been a winner. Like you already mentioned, Nuni, been a winner. We have a group of Rwandans that are winners, right? DR is a winner. Like everybody's just a winner. So just having that strong mentality and having that common goal and that desire and that passion was very, very important, and it made it very easy to implement 3, 4, 5 guys that are very, very coachable.
Axel, how is it to play with these guys? Because bringing in these players also comes, with competition, for your sport, for Mint, but also brings competitiveness in general to the team. So how was it for you as a player, to have these guys on the team?
I mean, as a player, I would just emphasize what Coach said. Like, you got to bring in guys that, will leave their ego at the door, and come together for the team, for the common goal, right? And like he said, they're winners, right? So it was easy as a player to adjust to our new teammates, because they came in and they're genuine. They want to work hard and they want to win, just like the guys that were already here. So it wasn't really much of an adjustment, and it was easy to do stuff off the court and build that chemistry even off the court as well. And I think over time it showed. In the way we played, in the way we came to South Africa and really came together and started clicking, So.
Coach, on the lessons learned from this tournament, going to the playoffs, you face the eventual winners of the whole tournament. You put up a fight really against them. First 2 quarters, really APR was like going head to head with them. But then they really ran away with it in the last 2 quarters. What happened? What do you think happened in those last 2 quarters?
In the conference game or the playoffs?
No, in the playoffs.
Oh, in the playoffs, we were up 8 in the 3rd quarter, so I wouldn't say they ran away with it. No, but we compounded mistakes. I'm not going to take anything away from Tripoli. They really, really do a good job of creating and capitalizing on errors. We compounded mistakes, and I don't think it's on the players. I don't think it's on the coaches. I think it's on the group as a whole. As Axel mentioned, we're a solution-based team. We didn't find solutions fast enough. We found them, but you make 2, 3 mistakes in a row, that could be 6 or 9 points with them. I thought we did a really, really good job of, in half court, being able to control their offense. They're a team with a coach that I thought he did a great job of scouting. They tried to limit our offense as much as possible, offer rebounds and keep it to where we couldn't down on the court, because you had to try to junk us up. We had one of the strongest offense in the BAL. Those coaches knew that. And I thought he did a great job of trying to muck it up to where we couldn't just flow, as we usually do. But yeah, just those mistakes. Loose ball, couldn't dive on it. Maybe taking a risk on some defenses and stuff and different things like that are things that we will look at in the future. I noticed a lot of coaches doing that, especially against us because of our offensive power. So that's something for us that we have to look at in the future.
I'm thinking about the mistakes because before the match, in an interview, I think you said that the players need to take care of the ball. But during the match, they were losing sometimes the ball. And I'm thinking, after the match, you might have been like a frustrated man. But then, that team bounces back and wins the third place game with actually a record number of points. What happened after that loss and the next game in between for you to, regroup the players and have them, do that record match?
Yeah, I think the one word that sums it up for us was forgiveness. You lose a game like that and you have a goal and you lose that game, it's very, very easy to point fingers. It's very easy for the people outside to get you to think, oh, well, this coach didn't do this, or this player didn't do this, or this guy should have played more, or we should have done this. Even for us as a coaching staff, we were up all night, sleep 1 hour that night, and just stay up all night, and you're going through all of these different scenarios of things that you could have changed, you could have done differently. And then you watch the film. And when you look at the film, you sit back and say, this was a good decision, it just didn't work because of this. Or, you look at different things like that. And I think every coaching staff in the world goes through that when you lose a game of that. I think every player, being a former player myself, I think every player goes through that. So for us, it was to make sure that next morning, it was to make sure that we were the group that we started with.
Absolutely.
To make sure we were combined, that we were unified. And I think once we forgave each other, we got back to enjoying basketball and enjoying our group, and I think that's what we did in that last game.
Absolutely. Axel, someone would think that you lose a game and you're going to play a third place game, you're not going to give it your best. What were you talking about as players, going out and giving it your best, on the backdrop of a loss?
Yeah, man, just finishing on a high note, knowing that, like Coach said, we came far from our last year, showing in the BAL, making it to the playoffs, and just knowing that third place, we could still make it on the podium and, still make history, with that alone. And yeah, man, just knowing it's the last time that group was gonna play together. So, just to give it our all and just leaving on a high note. Yeah.
Does that give you a push for next season? You really think, for example, that's an encouragement to make you think, next season we're going to just go for that trophy?
Yeah, 100%. I think we made a huge step this year, in getting that third place, and I think we showed that we're capable to win a championship, and I think that's not our ceiling, is third place. I think this was just a step to being a championship team, and yeah, for sure gave us a good boost, and we feel good going into these playoffs and next year for the BAL. And yeah.
Absolutely. So, Coach, what lessons in general do you pick from this? Because someone would say maybe you would want to improve your recruitment. Someone would say maybe you may want to improve other kind of aspects of the team. What exactly are the lessons that you think APR can take from this concluded tournament to go for glory, in the next one?
Yeah. Well, first, I think our recruitment actually went really well, especially for the situations we were in with the injuries. I thought management did a great job of moving quickly to secure guys. It's funny, from the outside in, recruitment always looks like one thing because you think if somebody scores 30 points outside, that's what they come do here. With our style and our system of play, we don't worry about names. So it could be anybody on any given night. So for us, it's mainly recruiting good guys, unselfish guys, team guys. There's a ton of players out there with a lot of value. You want to get the right ones, but you want guys that's going to fit the group and complement the group that we already have. So that's the first part. Second part is, again, the junking up of the defenses. I remember sitting in South Africa, and I'm thinking about, Tripoli's coach is a national team coach.
Yeah.
Petro's coach was Mexico's national team coach when I was playing with Dominican Republic. And there's all these national team coaches there. Guys that have coached against the best coaches in the world. For me, I've coached on a pretty high level, but the experience, these guys have years and years and years and years of experience. One thing they trusted, I think more than we trusted, again, was just throwing a bunch of junk defenses and just taking random risks at given times. I think we could have been a riskier. Now, it could go both ways.
Yeah.
Throughout the BAL, we have been one of the top 3 defenses, so it wasn't, you get a feel that you don't need to take too many risks because we've been steady enough. But there's times when you look back that it's like, throw these little things in. I think one of the big faults for us was we didn't have the long preparation in Turkey or all these other different countries. So throughout the league, I don't think we did enough experimenting with different random defenses in the league. We saved it to do it during our preparation, and then our preparation was only the Genocide Memorial Tournament. It was 4 days. So saving it and not getting enough reps at it isn't going to give the coaches nor the players the confidence to be able to just throw something out there that you just haven't been doing. So I think next year that'll be something that we experiment with earlier. This year was a lot of offensive things, which we were able to completely revolutionize, like our offensive style of play through the BAL. Next year, I think it would be, we got to also add early in the year, especially and use the league to be able to get some defensive reps in on just some random things that we might just have to throw out there in the BAL.
Absolutely. I want to ask the same question to you, Axel. There is an interview where you said that your game plan was to play defense and play for each other, really. Are there things that you think you can do better going into the next BAL?
Yeah, 100%. We definitely got room to improve. We weren't the champions, so we definitely got room to improve. I think, the little things, defensive breakdowns, making more shots, and as players we can do that. And it's just little things. Basketball is a details game. So just focusing on the details will make us a better team.
Absolutely. Coach, maybe some final questions for you. The BAL, Nile Conference, which was taking place here, did you feel that fan power here in Kigali?
It was tricky.
Okay.
It was tricky. There definitely was a familiarity with everything. Obviously playing in BK Arena, having the support of our fans. I also think the other teams did a great job of making sure they had busloads of fans and supporting them as well. As the tournament grew, I think the support grew with it. A lot of disappointed people from last season. I think people were 50-50, didn't know how we go. You're going to have the people that's out there ready to criticize you if things don't go well. And then it's just a belief factor. Last year, the organization, we didn't give them enough to believe in. This year, as it went and people started to believe, I really felt like the country and the fans really rallied around us and gave us that sixth man feeling, especially going down the stretch of the Nile Conference. Even in South Africa, I thought we had a great amount of support there that applauded us when we did well, that were ready to pick our heads up when we didn't do well in the semifinal game. But they stayed through the end and they really, really rallied behind us and stayed with us. So definitely, I thought Rwanda did a great job of being the sixth man for us and giving us some power and momentum moving forward.
By the way, the president in particular coming to the court to support you, I think there are matches he actually was standing up and cheering for you, and the First Lady. How is that like? Does that, for example, when you talk to players, does that put some pressure on the players? Does it encourage them? How is that for you?
There's always pressure. There's always pressure. I think we welcomed it with open arms. To have somebody of his excellent stature to be supporting you and cheering for you is very, very important. Just leading the country forward. So again, that's why winning third place meant something for us, it meant something for the country, and it meant something for the president and the First Lady. So I don't think there's pressure, but I think we were able to welcome it in a positive way. We just lost the game. Other than that, I thought you know, they did a great job, and it really, really helped us just be passionate and keep our desire at a high level to win.
Actually, someone told me off the record that they feel the pressure sometime when the president is there. I don't know. Axel, how do you feel when the president is there? Is it pressure? Is it encouragement? How is it?
For me, it's more encouragement. You know, it's an honor to know that the president of the country is behind us. You know, he's supporting us. It's encouragement for me. You know, we play so many games as basketball players, and you know, the more high-level games that we play, you know, it's just we you know, you have to just prepare the same way. So you got your routine, you do what you do, and then you go out and perform at the highest level you can. The extra stuff outside of that is just like, you know, it's just encouragement. Yeah.
So, Coach James, outside the court, when you're not doing basketball, what else is Coach James doing? If you're not coaching, if you're not watching the game, what are you doing in Rwanda?
Just mostly with the family. I have my wife and my 2 kids here. They're in school. You know, my daughter's 8, my son's 6. So, you know, I'm still doing dad work, homework, drop-offs, pickups. You know, trying to, you know, help tutor them in different aspects, keep them in line when they're not doing what they're supposed to do, make sure they clean their room, stuff like that. And then just spending time with my wife. She's been here, been very, very supportive. Spending a lot of time taking care of the family as I'm off coaching and spending time with the guys most of the time. So just really spending, you know, go to movies. I went to a movie theater, saw a bunch of monkeys outside, which was really, really weird. It was like 30, like a family of like 30 monkeys running around. It threw me off. Going to Akagera, finding some nice places to eat, and just relaxing.
What Rwandan dish do you love?
Rwandan dish? You know, I don't really know the names of the dishes. We have a chef that cooks for us that makes all kinds of different foods. Does a great job with it, so I love the food here. If that is any, you know, indication.
Axel, outside the court, what do you do?
Yeah, man, I'm a real simple guy. I'm chill. I like to play video games. I hang out with my lady, hang out with my dog, and just hang out with the guys, man. That's basically it. Yeah.
Do you have friends outside your teammates, like in this city?
Yeah. I have friends outside my teammates. Yeah.
Do you have family as well here in Kigali?
I have a lot of family here as well, and yeah, they know who they are. So yeah. So
interesting. Makes me remember how your mom is a big fan of yours. Is she coming back for the playoffs this time around?
You know, she couldn't make it this time, unfortunately. You know, but it's always good to have her out here. You know, you guys see her energy. You know, it's always good for me and for the team. You know, it gives us a boost. But she can't make it, unfortunately, this time. But she'll be here soon for sure.
And for you, Axel, you've been here for maybe 3 years plus.
5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah.
Which type of food do you like? You should be knowing the names, surely.
I eat rice and soup every day. I ain't gonna lie. I eat rice, soup, fondue every day. So yeah. That's it.
Okay, Axel, thanks again, and Coach and Axel, I really thank you for your time. Coach and Axel, by the way, both of them are right now involved in the playoffs. I think it's 1-1 now, five game series, and they saved time for us, knowing that they're actually going for a game tomorrow. So, Coach and Axel, really thanks a lot, and good luck, you know, in the playoffs. Hopefully, you go back and represent the country.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Igomba kuza gutanga isura iri tsinda